So I want to talk about the practice of ho'oponopono or ho'opono, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and how it links up beautifully with the forgiveness principle of the Course in Miracles. So to truly get to a place where you can be yourself knowingly, and when I mean be yourself knowingly is truly know the very essence of the life you are, the life force you are, of what you truly are in its purest essential nature. You get rid of every other aspect and idea about what you are, and you get at the purity of it through that process of self-inquiry, and you know yourself as the love of God, as the light of God. And that love of God experienced in our limitations of a body-mind, physicality, is experienced as peace. And that peace ever extended, always eternal in presence, is a joyous experience. And that joyous experience is filled with love. And we start to recognize God as love. And therefore, I am an extension of God's love. I am that I am. I am the love of God. To get to that knowing, that place of knowing, we need to get to a place where we get to a deep understanding conceptually, physiologically, philosophically, mentally, mental constructs of what we are. We've got to get to that understanding first and foremost. And that understanding consists of a culmination of ideas and concepts that let go and replace ideas of separate body mind. So ideas that replace ideas, but they're still ideas. To truly get to that knowing, we need to transcend understanding to knowing. And what blocks us from getting from, never mind understanding, but the transcendence of understanding to knowing, is the idea in body-mind reality, in the ideas that live in our subconscious mind. Subconscious mind, secret dream. What is the secret dream? It's the belief in separation. The belief in separation, sin, and guilt. And it's these ideas that keep us trapped in the belief that we are victims of the world we see, that things have been done to me, that I'm not responsible for my own life. Even if I'm applying principles of law of attraction, bad things still happen to good people. Why? Because especially good people believe that they're not worthy, that they believe they've sinned. They carry a guilt. And where is all this idea of guilt, of sin, of not being good enough, being unworthy? It's all from experience. And where is experience? In the past. So we relive the past. We bring those ideas, those thoughts, those memories, which are just thoughts and ideas. We bring it into our current presence, into our current now, into our awareness, okay, into our mental construct awareness, into our awake dream awareness. So we're dreaming awake. We bring it in the past, we relive it here now. And then we project it into the future. We project it onto others, we attack. We try and minimize our guilt, maximize our pleasure, project it onto others and attack. We project it into the future where the future is going to come at us and hurt us again, just like the past did. What happens? Fear builds. The illusion of fear builds. So the illusion of illusion grows. And how do we get to that transcendence of what we're feeling? Guilt, pain, suffering, minds filled with remorse and guilt and attack thoughts and blame and holding other people responsible or the world responsible for our current condition. We have to practice forgiveness. So A Course in Miracles is all about forgiving the illusion of the past, the illusion that those experiences of sin, guilt, and fear are real. And the way we need to do that is we need to forgive. Now, what forgiveness does, it brings us to a place of understanding how, as I forgive, I realize the benefit of forgiving. What's the first benefit in forgiving? As I forgive, I release myself from carrying that burden of remorse or vengeance or guilt. So as I forgive either others or myself or what I think I've done, I unburden myself from carrying that again. That's the first benefit. The second benefit, when I abide in that experience of letting go, forgiving, and I feel the release from it, There's that moment of a holy instant, a moment of temporal bliss. As I let go, I feel lighter, I'm released from it. And that brings an understanding that, hang a second, as I let go, I let God. As I forgive, so I am released. As I am released, I lift. And now there's a new level of understanding. Not only do I release others as I forgive, or release myself from the burden of carrying it, I'm lifted. And the minute I lift it, I feel gratitude. And so the second lesson is the realization of gratitude. As I forgive, I'm lifted into gratitude. And so the lesson is actually a lesson in letting go, in the release, in the becoming a lighter being. That unbearable lightness of being, carried with ideas, and ideas were light but unbearable, becomes the blissful lightness of being. As I let go, and myself, the beingness of myself, starts to shine through. And so the second lesson is gratitude. And as I understand gratitude, it starts to reveal that I'm not a victim of the world I see, but I'm creating all the experiences, past, present, and future, in my current understanding of what I am. And I value my ideas of what I am, and therefore I look upon my beliefs of what I am. So if I believe that there's a war raging, I look upon pictures of war. But if I believe I am the Son of God, at least in my conceptual understanding, I start to look upon a lighter world. And so the third lesson that's brought in is what I start to understand as myself, I start to see in the world as reflections of myself. And that brings about the fourth level of understanding, which is, hang a second, if that's the case, then I am the creator of my reality. And so what I believe was my body, mind, what I believe were other people, what I believe are people, places, things, and events, therefore this planet, the solar system, this universe is actually projections of myself, misperceived love projections, because I am love and love is light and light shines through me as myself, but filtered through all my different beliefs and ideologies, they become people, places, things, and events. When I let go of those filtered ideologies, it all becomes light. And that's what the Course means by it appears that this earth is raised into the awareness of heaven. Heaven comes to the world. And I start to see the face of Christ on all I look upon. So the fourth and final realization is I am responsible for what I see. And when I let go of the ideologies, I become that which observes, the decision maker. And as I step deep into it, as I sink into that awareness, sink into the heart of awareness, I recognize the essence of my being. Myself is revealed to myself as the I am that I am. The reveal is done as I let go of the filters, as the ego dies, the second death, the death of ego. It dissolves in the light of the awareness of the self, which is revealed. But to get to that place, and as the self is revealed, you transcend understanding to the realm of knowing, and there you abide as the self. And that's as far as you go as a body, mind, dreaming and awakening in the dream. And then you're at the bridge now, the bridge of consciousness, where God's Holy Spirit takes you to and takes you to the final step and returns you fully conscious into the Christ conscious mind, where you realize I am one. We are the oneness, the atonement, the Holy Son of God. The Christ mind is awake in the realization it's never left. A part of it's dreaming, but I am awake and awakening. And until all of my fractured selves awaken, I cannot leave my dream state. Because although it is illusion, I'm trapped in the belief it is real. And when I move into Christ's mind, the space-time temporary existence disappears and the light of awakening is revealed as the self. Now, how do I practice this forgiveness? This such an important step, which steps me into those 5 steps where I transcend to the awareness of myself. I practice forgiveness. How do I forgive? Well, false forgiveness is I know and therefore I'm forgiving you because you're wrong and I'm better. We don't practice that. How do we practice true forgiveness? We recognize first and foremost that nothing that happened, nothing that had ever happened, nothing that is happening is real. And I recognize that it's just belief. But we sometimes need a practice. And to me, the practice of Ho'oponopono, spread beautifully by Dr. Hugh Len around the world, the practice of transcendence in the Hawaiian way, because really what Ho'oponopono is the transcendence process. But it takes you through the forgiveness steps. So there's a couple of sayings that it goes with, but it goes so much deeper than just the sayings. And when I started teaching this and started practicing it 20 years ago, it came in a limited understanding of myself and therefore what I was practicing. Because I thought I was forgiving others and things. Now I realize it's all me. And so it's all my misperceived love projections. So it starts off with the very, very simple word. You just imagine someone on the screen that on a screen in your mind that you've harmed, or someone harmed you. And what you start off with, you start saying, I forgive you. But how do I say I forgive you? Well, we start off with the words, I am sorry. And you're saying sorry to the person you may or may not believe you've harmed, but you're also saying sorry to the self for having misperceived love, misperceived yourself and projected it. So I'm sorry that I've created the situation where I have suffered. Or I'm sorry where I created a situation where you, a projection of myself, has suffered. I'm sorry that suffering was my perceived reality, when in truth I am the love of God. So I am sorry. And then we place it into a place of responsibility. Please forgive me. So you could be imagining that person, you're saying you're sorry to them, and you're saying, please forgive me because I did something to you that harmed you. So I'm saying, please forgive me. At the same time, you're saying to yourself, I'm sorry for having created the situation where you appear to suffer. Please forgive me for my miscreated perception. Please forgive me that I've believed I was a separate body and mind and I could suffer. I'm sorry, please forgive me. And in my realization, as I forgive, so I'm forgiven, the next word is thank you. Thank you for forgiving me. And you're saying thank you to yourself for recognizing that this activity where sin, guilt, and fear was brought up in other people, you harmed others or others harmed you, and this was all done for you, by you, through you, by God's Holy Spirit. This gift was given you that you had to realize through this process of having to let go, of having to forgive, that nothing's actually happened. So you're saying thank you, because this has brought it into my awareness. This is the atonement principle happening right here, right now. The temporal atonement principle in the appearance of space-time happening right now, where the self is revealed through this wonderful process that I have been shown by the Christ mind, that Jesus brought to us when he walked this earth, and again when he channeled the Course in Miracles through Helen. The realization, thank you for this. Thank you for this wonderful awareness that has come through Course in Miracles, Ho'oponopono, you, my brother, that is chosen to be my enemy in the illusion of space-time, incarnation, so that I could undergo the suffering, or that I could cause suffering, and then find remorse or find forgiveness. So I had to forgive you and let go. I no longer wanted to carry the anger. I no longer wanted to feel remorseful. I no longer wanted to feel guilty. What is remorse? Intense guilt over a period of time becomes remorse, becomes heavy. And so thank you for this, because as I choose to forgive you, I forgive myself. And as I forgive myself, I forgive my misprojected perceptions. It's all love. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. Thank you that this experience has brought me into the realization of the I am, of the self. And then I love you. Not only do I love you, my enemy that hurt me, or the person that I hurt, thank you for being this person, and I love you. And I love myself, because it's through this experience of division, of separation, body-mind separation, that I realize I'm not. So I am love. The love I am recognizes the love you are. The love you are recognizes the love I am. Thank you, I love you. And then I say we are healed, meaning we are permanent healing. There is, in actual fact, there isn't two of us. We are continuously and permanently and eternally. Eternally really means always now, always here, the love of God, the extension of God's love. Like the Father, the Son and the Father are one. I love you. Thank you. We are healed. We are in a permanent state of healing. And I'm so grateful that this horrible trauma came into my life where I was a horrible person, I hurt you, and now I'm remorseful. And it got me to a place of forgiveness, or you hurt me and I was a victim, or I believe I was your victim, or a victim of the world I see. I now realize through this experience of what was perceived as suffering was the greatest gift, was the gift of grace, God's grace bestowed upon me. But not only did he leave me suffering, he gave me the tools to step out of it, the tools where I could transcend my ideas of body mind, transcend that into the knowing of myself. And so, and Joe Vitale uses this line as well, and he says, the line is, so myself forgives you, or the I am forgives myself, or I am forgiven by myself, okay, or I forgives, and Joe Vitale likes to say the word forgives, and he's not grammatically incorrect, he's emphasizing that, I forgives myself. So it's the I am, I forgives myself. So there's actually no forgiveness. And as the Course clearly explains, forgiveness is the final illusion which eradicates all illusions. What is forgiving? Forgiving is simply the knowing of one's being. The appearance of I forgive you or you've forgiven me simply is I recognize myself. There is nothing to forgive, because it was beautifully brought about through God's Holy Spirit that I started to see the separateness of my creation and the reality that I am that which created all of this whole universe, this whole dream mind illusion, this body mind creation is just a misprojected perception, misperceived projection of the self, the love of God I am. And so this is why I love to say, if you're struggling with forgiveness, just practice the Ho'oponopono. Visualize that person that you've harmed or has harmed you, and you just simply say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you for showing me this, it's all me. I love you, we are healed. The I am forgives myself. And this is something I urge you do, and if you really are looking for how to forgive, whether it be people in your life, bosses, spouses, relationships, people that have left you, people in the past, be your formative years, your parents, your mother, your father, your later on relationships, your friends, your marriages, your intimate relationships where you were betrayed, rejected, abandoned, where you were hurt, or you did the abandoning and the rejecting and you infidelity. When you forgive all of that, you realize all of that was brought about, all the suffering, all the wars in the world were brought about so that you could find another way. And the other way was the path of forgiveness, and the path of forgiveness brought you into the place of the decision maker and brought you into a space of understanding. And when you were willing to will God's will, you then transcended and surpassed understanding into the knowing of yourself as the love of God. I urge you to practice it. It is the most beautiful practice that has not only helped me, but many of my clients. And from there onwards, just abide in that self in total gratitude. Forget about law of manifestation, law of attraction. What should I attract? People, places, things, and events. Vision boards. God knows what's in your heart. Holy Spirit knows what your highest ideal, what your purpose, a life filled with purpose and meaning really is. So you simply abide in gratitude and just set forth the intention. Where would you have me be? What would you have me say? To whom would you have me speak? Let me become an instrument of your love. Let me become an instrument of your joy. Let me become an instrument of your peace. The St. Francis of Assisi prayer. And you abide until you're shown with total clarity, total vision, the vision, inspired vision, when you empty the cup of all beliefs, when the cup is empty with nothing more to forgive, and you reside and abide knowingly in the heart, which is the temple, which is the very essence of what you are, the essence of the love of God. Now, when vision is shown you, you pour yourself into the world and you act in your passionate nature and you serve all of yourself, which is the world you see. I hope that gives you some peace and direction and some guidance. It certainly has worked for me and many of my clients. So keep the faith and know that there's something much larger than all of us put together that holds us in the highest regard and only wants the best for the sonship. Be blessed.